Yang berbahagia Datuk Sri Syed Hussein Al-Habsi, Board of Governor of IIUM, which has just delivered a very moving remark that touches all of us. You always speaks from your heart, not only from your mind. May His blessing be upon you always, insyaAllah. Amin. Yang berusaha, Profesor Dr. Amir Akramin, Deputy Rector of IUM, Excellencies, Ambassadors, Representative from Diplomatic Corps, also the Dean of IIUM, Professor Abdulaziz Bergaud, distinguished professors, distinguished guests, deans, students, ladies and gentlemen, attending physically or virtually, all of you. Allow me to begin by expressing my true appreciations for the invite. When I received the invitations 2 months back, it was indeed an honor, privilege. The International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilizations is an institute that I value highly since I was just a student. It is the place that, my mentors, my professors talk about it. And books that was published from ISTAC is books that we've been reading all along. And when I did my graduate studies in the US, I had also the opportunity to interact closer with, later on, rector of IIU, which is Professor Kamal Hassan. I was just a student, he was a visiting professor, but whenever there is scholars coming into town, he made a gathering, and all of us, these young graduate students who try to connect and learn, has always been invited. So we come to his place and listening to all these leading scholars from all over the world, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from Afghanistan, from Egypt, from North Africa. People coming into his place and have these conversations, and we all just learn over there. So the name of ISTAC, IIUM, is names that is so close to my heart. And finally, I had the opportunity to physically present in this prestigious place. So I'm humbly honored with the opportunity. And inshallah, the institution continue to be the jewel from the East, as has been said earlier. And we all realize that Islamic civilization, so the Ummah, stretch from the very western part of Maghribi all the way to the Nusantara in the very eastern part. It is a civilization that have gone through centuries of ups and downs, many lessons learned from our history, and many lessons to see how we embark to the future and how we contribute to the world civilization. So, as I prepare remarks, it become too serious. I'll read some of my notes here, but I also like to share some of the notes that it was inspired by remark of our dean, Professor Abdulaziz. The spirit of Bandung after the 1955 Asia Africa Conference. What I like to share here is, and I put that on some of our notes, is our ability in Southeast Asia, the people of Malay, to form gotong royong, to form cooperations, and to know limits of differences. And this is something unique of our land. And if I share some of our experience in Indonesia, when a nation as diverse as Indonesia, this is about more than 400 ethnic groups, more than 700 spoken languages, and we came to conclusions that we need to become one nation, and to create the feeling of unity, we have to have one common language. And the common language that was adopted was Melayu, bahasa Melayu that was adopted. And if you are talking about numbers of Melayu speaker, it is not the majority. The majority of speakers in terms of ethnic groups is Japanese. But the Japanese did not push for his, quote, their language to be the national language of Indonesia. And the meeting was in 1928, 17 years before independence. And we didn't even foresee that independence is coming. It's still far away. We need to come up with the uniting variables, and that uniting variables was language. And they adopted Malay, because the bahasa Melayu give the feeling of equality, give a sense of togetherness. When you adopt a different language, there is strata in that languages. And it was a decisions that we are so grateful until today. With that, we are able to create the feeling of unity. But not less important is we are also create a feeling of unity with everyone of Malay in this region, the region of Southeast Asia. So we come to Malaysia, we don't need translator. You come to Indonesia, you don't need translators. And even at times of trying, when we are experiencing tensions, and sometimes tension started from polarizations, friction, conflict, and trying to solve that tensions, groups come together, have negotiations, even if it is a very rough conflict, you don't need translator in the table. You can speak freely, frankly to one another because you have one common language. But it started with the willingness to accept higher purpose, common purpose above our minor micro interest or purpose. And that was of unique in Southeast Asia. So, allow me with that as an introduction to go into some of our notes that, in the Malay saying, di mana bumi dipijak, di situ langit dijunjung, which remind us that wherever we stand on this earth, we uphold the sky together. This saying sort of captures the essence of the bonds we share, bonds that stretch back centuries, woven through our tales of maritime adventures, shared literature, cultural exchanges, and mutual reflex. It is a reflection not only of our shared roots, but also our shared responsibility. And as you see, the stories of Indonesia, Malaysia, and our Malay brothers and sisters across Southeast Asia are not the separate chapters in a book. They are a thread of tapestry, each one vital, each one telling a story of resilience, innovations, and unity. And that's precisely why we are here today. Not just to reflect upon the vibrant hues of our past, but to envision the patterns that we will weave into this tapestry in the coming years. And therefore, our gathering in this esteemed institute is a testament to our collective recognitions that the future of the Malay civilizations is inextricably linked to the broader conversation of sustainable development and global progress. And what we are discussing today is not just about policies and theory. We are, in a sense, reflecting on a promise that we owe to our children and the children of our children, a promise of a world where they not only thrive, but also recognize and cherish the depth and richness of their heritage. And as we move forward, let us remember that our conversations, our actions, our visions will shape not only the futures of Malay, but also the very fabrics of global discourse. Now, allow me to share some historical context in our conversation today. That history isn't just a distant memory or words in a textbook. It is alive, it breathes, and it continues to shape our present and our futures. And the history of Malay civilization, rich and resplendent, is a testament of that truth. We all know that centuries ago, while many parts of the world were still finding their feet, the great Malay kingdoms were hubs of commerce and trade. Sailors and merchants from our lands ventured across vastness of Indian Oceans, of the South China Sea, connecting distant shores. However, we need to note here that our ancestors built network of relationship based on trust, not on conquest. And that is something of unique from us here in Southeast Asia. They barter goods, but yet more importantly, they exchange ideas, they exchange art, stories, and weaving the early threads of globalizations. And it is in the very southeast part of Asia. So, the annals of history speaks of our maritime prowess, but let's not forget the world of letters and thought. Our literature not only entertained, but imparted values, philosophies, and lessons for generations. The arts, from the intricate patterns of batik to the soulful rhythm of gamelan, they have captured imaginations, and they have told tales of love, heroism, and unity. And also, our system of governance. It is rooted in community, driven by consensus. And we understood that true power doesn't come from the ruling over people, but from empowering people. It comes from leading with them. This is the very essence of our leadership. That was not about dominance, but service. And that is why, if I may share, as I mentioned last night, we may be seeing impressive individual countries in other parts of Asia. Say, South Asia. You're seeing emerging India, neighbors of Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And then you're seeing to the northeast, where Japan started 150 years ago. And then you have South Korea, Taiwan, China. This individual country impressed the world. However, we are not seeing the region being able to work together, because on the other hand, you have Southeast Asia, where all this country, Malay-dominated culture, we are able to form cooperations, we are able to form gotong royong, we are able to form togetherness. Why? Because the leadership was not about dominance, it is about building trust. It is about mutual respect. And we understand limits. Sometimes we have differences. However, in the past more than 50 years, this region has been peaceful among us. There were conflicts, but with foreign powers. But within us, basically, this has been a peaceful region. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this grand symphony of progress, it is not just our past that sings, but it's also our presence that harmonizes and promises acquires for the futures. The Malay world has always been bridged between civilizations, and today we're amping up our efforts to be beacon for the world in sustainable development. This is something that I also mentioned during our first encounter in Indonesia, in Jakarta a few months ago, that our challenge within the Ummah is to shift our attention from focusing how we tackle the challenge of Ummah into how we provide solutions to humankind, how the Ummah contribute to humankind and the challenge of humanity today. And one of the biggest challenges, as we all know, is about sustainability. We have been living in the world and it's been dominated by paradigm values that often lead us to imbalances, lead us to inequilibrium. And this is something that we need to step in. We need to contribute solutions to all of that. And if I also, let me see, I have a little bit of one slide to show, hopefully. Okay, there we go. This has been the dominant paradigm that we have been seeing in the past 2 to 3 centuries. Accumulation of wealth, profit maximizations, ecology as externalities, and economic growth as the forefront of our development. And this is the area in which we need to address, we need to tackle, and we need to move, and we need to go back to our roots, from accumulation of wealth into distribution of wealth, from profit maximizations to well-being oriented, from ecology as externalities to environment as essentials, from economic growth to harmony between ecology and economy. And this needs to be done by us, by showing examples, and we can go back to our roots in which we have the traditions of maintaining all of this. If I may share some of our experience. Indonesia, the Emerald of Archipelago, we still have quite a few environmental challenges. However, in just a few short years, we've also witnessed transformations. We have harnessed the power of the sun, the wind, the waves, and taking significant strides in the adoptions of renewable energy. We are also pushing for more sustainable public transportation within and between our urban areas. And Indonesia doesn't stand alone in these journeys. Our brothers and sisters in Malaysia have been making remarkable progress as a steward of Mother Earth. Of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, Malaysia has made immense positive achievements in the area of poverty reductions, quality education, clean energy provisions, and climate actions. You have shown that progress doesn't have to come at the expense of our planets. But this is not just a story of two nations. Across Southeast Asia, whether it's reforestation effort in Thailand or the sustainable fisheries in the Philippines, the movement in this region is growing. So our unity in ASEAN shouldn't just be political or economical, but it also has to be environmental and ethical. Through collaborations and partnership, we're setting benchmark. We're setting a method of sharing knowledge and building a future where prosperity of one doesn't mean the depletions of another. And ASEAN Sustainable Initiative remind us that when we pool our resources, we pool our knowledge, and we resolve seriously, there is no challenge that is too great for us. So let this achievement not be mere bullet points in a report, but let them be the story that we proudly share with our children as proof that their heritage is one of action, of care, of unwavering commitments to Earth and to each other. In our journey forward, we carry the songs of hope. We must also listen to the sobering notes of challenge. And these challenges are not mere hurdles to overcome. They're actually opportunities for us to reaffirm our commitments, our resilience, and our unity. The reality of climate change, and we now call it climate crisis, is undeniable. It is staring at us right in our face. Our shores bear witness to the rising sea levels, eroding the very lands of our ancestors, which were called home. And we have seen the fury of nature with extreme weather events, not just disturbing life, but reshaping the very landscape of our nations. All of us experience one of the biggest crises of humanity faced by humanity in the past 3 years when COVID hit us in 2020. I often feel that I had the opportunity with the blessing of Allah to be managing one of the largest city at times of the most trying of our modern period. We have 11 million populations, and when COVID arrived, the complexity was serious, and I think all cities were experiencing that. But 2 months before that, Jakarta experienced the worst rainfall in the history of our city. Our drainage system had a capacity of 50 millimeters of rain per day. On the 1st of January 2020, the rainfalls in Jakarta reached to the level of 378 millimeters in 7 hours. The capacity is 50 in 24 hours. The rain was 378 in 7 hours. It was the worst rainfall we ever experienced. That's why I often said, when people said the climate change, for us it's a climate crisis. And that's where we are now witnessing. So, but we need to take a note. The challenges don't just stem from nature. As leaders, we grapple with economic dilemmas every day. How do we ensure that our growth is not just rapid, but right? That doesn't just fill our coffers, but fills with the aspirations of every citizen, whether they live in the bustling streets of Kuala Lumpur or in the serene village of Central Java. We are at the crossroad in deciding about the path that balances growth with equity, with prosperity, with sustainability. And this is where our journey needs to take. We need to come back into our roots. So now, with regards to the future, I believe in the spirits of Malay world and the larger Southeast ASEAN community. Our history has shown us so many. It is us that we are able to face challenges head-on in the past, and we innovated, we adapt, but most importantly, we do everything together as one community, as one family. And ladies and gentlemen, as we stand here in this juncture, I'd like to outline 4 strategies that may be of interest to all of us embarking to the future. Number 1 is to embrace technology. We are on the cusp of revolutions, the 4th industrial revolutions. But it's essential to remember that this isn't about machine or code, it's about humanity. The rise of artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, the green technology present an unparalleled opportunities. Yes, we can harness them, not as masters, but as partners. Partners that can revolutionize agriculture, empower local businesses, protect our precious environment. It's not about replacing our essence with technology, but enhancing it and amplifying it to the world to witness. I often had conversation with our teachers and professors in our university and asked the simple questions, can technology replace teachers? Can technology replace professors? When these questions were posed to teachers and professors, most likely we as professors, we as teachers would respond, no, because we are irreplaceable. We don't like to be replaced by technology, and we don't think technology can replace us. But if I reflect back on that questions, perhaps it was the wrong questions. The right question should be, what kind of teachers, what kind of professor is irreplaceable by technology? And what kind of professors and what kind of teachers that are replaceable by technology? Those who are teaching repetitively, using same materials over and over again, you can replace it with PowerPoint and video recording. But those that comes with inspirations, with moving messages, those individuals would never be replaced by technology, ever. So you look at this technology as partners, and for us here in these regions, we have the richness of our creative imaginations that can be translated into inspiring messages. Number 2 is with youth and educations. You know, when I look at the eyes of our youth, what I'm seeing is not only hope, but I'm seeing promise. They are the torchbearer of our legacy. They are the architects of our futures. And investing in them is not just a duty, but it is also an honor. By revamping our education system, we can cultivate minds that think critically, hearts that value sustainability, spirit that cherish regional comrades. And they are our future leaders, our future innovators, our future artists, our future custodians. So we need to equip them with wisdom of the past and the tools of the future. And we really need to show that with examples in our facility. How can we make sure that our facility is green, is sustainable, development oriented? Number 3, on regional collaborations. Our strength has always been in our unity, and the ASEAN community is not just an association, it's a testament of our shared dreams and intertwined destinies. By intensifying our collaborations, we can spearhead research that redefine industries, innovate technology that charts new courses, and craft policy that sets global benchmark. If we do it as a united front, we can lead the discourse on sustainable development and show the world the power of collective ambitions, not only individual country, individual nations' ambitions. And the last point number 4, is cultural diplomacy. In the great theater of the world, the Malay civilization has a unique stories to tell. Stories of resilience, stories of harmony, of dance between natures and culture. Our journey of sustainable progress, deeply rooted in our cultural values and heritage, they can be guiding lights for nations near and far. Through cultural diplomacy, we can share our lessons, our melodies, and our dreams, fostering global connections and mutual respect. In crafting these visions, let's remember it is not just about reaching destinations. It is about the journey. It is about the stories we're telling. It is about the bonds we will forge and legacy that we will leave behind. So for all of us, let's dream big, work hard, and march ahead, hand in hand, toward a brighter, greener, and united future. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anis, for the presentation. I believe that